Well, if you see me today, it means that we've made it through the end of the year. Here we are in the second week of the new year, and last Sunday we heard about the baptism of Jesus. Now, when I was thinking about the baptism of Jesus, of course, Jesus didn't need to be baptized in the sense that we need to be baptized, but he was, and his father said, "Hey, this is my son. I'm really well pleased with him." And of course, Jesus did all the things that the Father asked him to do and shared that life, that love with each one of us in our baptism. So when I thought about baptism, I thought about baptism in water, because of course, water is essential to baptism. And as I thought about it, I thought about, here's two gifts, tremendous gifts that we have that we usually take for granted. Water. Here in America especially, it's usually available. And baptism. You know, we were baptized 50, 60, 70 years ago, so how often do we think about it? Well, I started to think about that because priests are greatly privileged to be able to share in that day of baptism with your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. And in that day of baptism, we have this blessing that we use for the water. And it reminds us how important water has been through all the faith years of the world. It says, "Father, you give us grace through sacramental signs, which tell us of the wonders of your unseen power. In baptism, we use your gift of water, which you have made a rich symbol of the grace that you give us in this sacrament. At the very dawn of creation, your Spirit breathed on the waters." Creation, the separation of the land from the waters. "The waters of the great flood made a sign of the waters of baptism that make an end to sin and a new beginning of goodness. Through the waters of the Red Sea, you led Israel out of slavery to be an image of God's holy people set free from sin by baptism. In the waters of the Jordan, Jesus was baptized by John. You willed that water and blood should flow from his side as he hung upon the cross." That's a really important one. Water and blood flowing from the side of Christ, all to remind us of the days of baptism. And then I thought about water today, and I thought about this wonderful encyclical that Pope Francis wrote 5 years ago. It's called Laudato Si, on care for a common home. And in his first chapter, he talks about water and how important it is to consider the availability or the lack of fresh drinking water and water for people. And he focuses mainly on the poor folks around the whole world that sometimes have a real difficulty in attaining water. And so, just an invitation to reflect upon all the good things that God has given us, but maybe this week to reflect upon the importance, the beauty of our baptisms, and the importance of water, and how we so often take it for granted, and just maybe an invitation to do our very best to conserve that water and to do our very best in conserving all the good things that God has given us. So, God bless you. I appreciate what God has given you, and we thank God for all the gifts that we have.